Hey, what's up everyone? It's Ducatibiker. Welcome to the Ducatibiker channel. If you're new here, our goal for this channel is to spread the love and joy of riding Ducati motorcycles and now Ducati e-bikes. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you guys a specification and a rundown of the brand new TK-01RR. So most of you guys are probably wondering why I'm doing a review of a Ducati e-bike other than the fact that it is a Ducati. But for most of you who don't know, I used to race downhill mountain bikes for 12 years of my life. And it's really cool to see that Ducati over the past few years have transitioned into making a really beautiful e-bike, also very, very performant as well. So everything you see going forward with this new review of this bike and also e-bike content is my experience, is my 12-year experience of racing downhill mountain bikes professionally and now racing Ducati e-bikes around the world in a huge e-bike mountain bike series. So I want to break down for you guys a little bit of the specifications of this bike and what makes it one of the most best e-bikes in the world, especially for racing. Obviously, we could already start with the colors and the graphics. This is the Ducati Course model, which is the RR, which has the Öhlins suspension in it. So what makes this one really cool is that you have the TTX Öhlins rear shock, which is like what you would have on a Ducati motorcycle, but the air shock version, obviously way smaller and more compressed for a size like this. You also have the 180 mil front Öhlins suspension fork. This is the 38, which you have high speed and low speed rebound as well as a compression. So you have dual chambers of air where you could add air to the top and bottom of the fork to get that specific high-end tuning. What also makes this bike really, really cool is what I like to say, the moto inspired fenders. You have right back here this moto guard right here, which keeps the rocks from flying up into the frame and scratching your linkage system right there and shocks. And they also provided another moto guard right here for the mud and the rocks not to splash up by your knees too. So it's really cool to see how when Ducati and Torque Cycles designed this bike together, that they decided to add some of those moto features together to make it more racy and obviously a lot more performant for when you're actually racing this bike on the e-bike circuit. And also, for most of you guys who don't know, they also went with another moto background by adding the 29-inch front wheel in the front, which gives you a better rolling and contact patch. But in the back, they put a 27.5 size in the back right there. That way you have the versatility of being able to have the rear wheel in the back track and go around corners quicker, but the front wheel being able to get over and around things. So they gave it like what you'd normally have like on a dirt bike, a bigger front wheel in the front and also a smaller one in the back. Accompanied by that, we have the KS dropper post. This is really unique right here too. A lot of people, this got introduced about, I would say 10 years ago into the mountain bike industry before you'd have this quick release collar to lower your up and down your seat. But now being an e-mountain bike racer, it's extremely important that when you're going downhill that you're able to slam this seat all the way down. That way the back of this seat won't hit you in the butt or poke you in the back as you're getting further back. And it allows you to get your legs and your butt right over here so you could attack more technical sections. But then when you're going uphill, you obviously want to hit the switch to go up. That way you could be seated correctly and give more power to the e-motor and also your legs and less fatigue too. So it's awesome to have a dropper post on this e-mountain bike. It just makes it that much more racy and more efficient as well. Another thing we're going to mention is the motor. So right now we have the Shimano, or this is called the EP8 motor right here. And for a lot of people who are getting into the e-bike industry, they think it's like I have a throttle or a gas here and I get to rip around the motor, and that's not at all the case. This is what we call pedal assist. So as I'm going up over a technical section or rock formation or downhill, I'm able to get a better assistance over pedaling and a smaller bit of acceleration just so I could put more force down. It's not an electric motor that has an electric rear hub that will actually power the bike. It's just assistance for my legs to get over and up and down and around things at a higher and faster speed. So a lot of people say, oh, it makes it easier for you guys to ride, and e-bikes, you know, I feel like a lot of people get confused with e-bikes, just like back in the day when motorcycles went from 2-stroke to 4-stroke. Everyone wasn't about it, they all hated about it, but this is like the ultimate training tool. If you could be really consistent and fast on an e-bike, and then you hop on your normal mountain bike, it'll make you that much faster, because this just allows you to get up over obstacles and descents and uphills way quicker and more efficient than when you would if you were on a normal mountain bike. So it's really cool to see, and to also train on a bike like this, to know that you have those different capabilities and the fact that it makes you a more efficient rider. So with the Shimano motor, you have different modes up on the control. So how this bike starts is you have right underneath here, you have a activating button switch right here, which is on the down tube. It's completely integrated. The battery is completely integrated into the frame, as you can imagine. And right here on the control, you have a small display with a few different modes. There's Eco. Eco mode is like if you were on the road and you want to save your battery and you didn't want to use too much battery, but you want to also use more of your legs, you could use Eco. There's also trail mode. Trail mode is obviously when you still want to save battery, but you don't feel like you need that much assistance because you're like maybe on a flatter surface and you want to maybe do a technical uphill a little bit slower. And then you have boost mode. Boost mode gives you all of this electric Shimano assistance, to where even if you, what I find interesting is I don't use boost mode when I'm going up a rock section. I'll stay in trail mode because boost mode is sometimes too fast. I get way too much assistance. It'll throw me up the mountain and sometimes I won't be able to approach a section correctly. I like to use boost mode in a flat section or when I'm descending, when I need that extra acceleration and leg assistance to just get the bike over or something. So it's fun to play with all three modes, and obviously you have a walk mode if you're trying to walk it over a valley or an area and you don't want the pedals to swing back or forward and the bike's just gonna kind of like take out from under you. So it's really nice to have that. As well as the Shimano, you could check your speed, you could check your distance, you could check how many mileages you've done. You could check so many different features that allow you to tune this bike to your needs and your settings, and also be able to, you know, check your status, and you can connect to your phone and all sorts of good things like that. What I like, as well as just like in the motocross racing, we have the Renthal fat bars right here, and these are the carbon fiber bars. This makes it for a really good feel and stance. Obviously, the wider the bars, the better, because that gives you more stability. If I were gonna hit a rock like this, I'll be able to control the bike more. But if my handlebars are smaller, I have less stability and control like that. So it's really nice that they gave us full carbon fiber Renthal fat bars, just like how they use in many of the mountain bike races. Also, with the TK-01RR, they've equipped us with the Dior XT brakes. These are Shimano brakes that match the drivetrain as well. And these are single piston caliber brakes that have amazing actuation. So I only use one finger when I'm riding. You should never use two fingers. This is for motorcycle racing as well. You should only use one finger, and you always want to make sure that as you're riding, your index finger and your wrists are completely straight. You never want to be up like this or down like this. You want to make sure everything's completely straight. And with the XT Dior brakes, you get a really good feeling of that actuation. So it's really nice to have it. You have a 200 mil rotor up the front, and then you have a 180 in the rear, just like how they had the tires and the wheels set up. Another thing is, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Pirelli tires, and it was so cool to see that Pirelli tires is now getting into the cycling industry. So right here we have the Pirelli Scorpion trail tires, which is interesting because I've ran on different Ducati Multistradas, Pirelli Trail 2 Scorpion tires before a motorcycle. So they pretty much just adopted that name, put it on here, and they also use this compounded rubber. So I've absolutely been loving these Pirelli tires. It gives me such a better grip and sensation while I'm coming around the corner. And also, I like to ride clipped in. So you can see I have my shoes right here. My SPDs are clipped in. So I have a lot of confidence not having to unclip, going around the corner, letting the suspension, the bike set up, and then completely drift around. So I would say Ducati's done a really good job, especially with the Torque Cycles, on designing and developing this e-mountain bike. And it's great because right when I got this bike, they actually revealed their new carbon version. So now you'll be able to see this bike in a limited edition carbon version, which will probably be way more expensive, but a lot lighter. And this bike, I would say, you know, is around the 40 pounds, give or take. But with the assistance, you don't feel that at all. As long as you keep your battery charged, you're gonna be totally fine. So you also have access to a water bottle cage right here, and also underneath if you wanted to have two, which is really nice. And so for the drivetrain, we have the XT Dior, like I said, to match the brakes. This is a 12-speed cassette right here, and then we also have the derailleur with a clutch. So what a clutch does is it allows the bottom of your cage not to swing forward when you're going over bumps, And when you want to loosen it, you can have it swing forward, and that way it's easy to remove the wheel and take the wheel off. So you always want to keep the clutch on while you're riding. I also have time pedals powered by SRAM, which are my favorite pedals. I've been racing with these pedals for the past 15 years, which have held up really, really great. And other than that, we have the FSA crankset that adapts to the bottom of this Shimano motor right here. What I really found interesting as well is when I got the bike, they had tubes in it. And if you're a mountain bike racer, you know you have to go tubeless. So I converted this whole entire wheel set to go tubeless. It makes the bike lighter, but also being here in Arizona, there's lots of agaves, lots of rocks and cactuses. And so there will be times I'll just hop off the trail and plow right through a cactus. And if you're running tubes, forget about it. You're gonna have a flat and you'll have to fix it every single time you're riding. But riding the tubeless setup, you have the sealant inside called Stand Sealant, and that'll absolutely seal up any little slice or puncture or hole to keep you still riding the next day and also for a long time. You'd be amazed on how well Stand Sealant seals tires and all the things that I've had to deal with here in Sedona, Arizona. So other than that, we're gonna do a few riding reviews as well. I've done plenty of GoPro footage I'll probably attach to this video, but I just want to give you guys a specification review on this new bike. They do have a base model, MGRR1 or the MMRG, which is the base model of this, which won't have the Olin suspension. You'll have your standard rock shocks. You'll probably have a dropper post, and the frame is not as burly. This is the TK-01RR, which is the Ducati Course Edition, the racing version, and then they also have, what you guys have probably seen in my reviews, the limited version. So the limited version is exactly the same frame. They colored it differently, but they put the triple clamp Olin's downhill suspension, and then they put the coil rear shock. And they had that bike designed, limited edition, to do a little bit more aggressive riding and park riding. So if you're a huge bike park guy, and instead of having this short travel bike, you wanted more suspension, you could get the limited edition version, which has electronic shifting Shimano. It has Magura hydraulic brakes, which are German. And then again, the full downhill Olin's racing setup, which is really cool. I've already made reviews about that. If you guys haven't seen that review, scroll all the way down. I did a full interview with Giorgio, the marketing director for Ducati e-bikes in Italy, and we went over the specifications and reviews of the TK-01RR limited edition. Other than that, I think we did enough talking. I'm gonna go hit the trails, and I'll see you guys soon. Wrap.
You're